Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Friday Night Smackdown review with us, the British Fist, all dressed in black.
Ka-ching!
Ka-ching, indeed. Make sure you guys subscribe up above, like this video, and get your comments on Smackdown in the comment section below.
And please make sure you contact us in the link in the box below.
Down there, yes, indeed, where those links are. Anyway, Smackdown, we had Edge this Smackdown today, didn't we? We had Edge featured in the main event segment and the opening segment, and where better to start off than the main event? No, I'm only joking. The opener. We'll start off with the opener. We open with Edge, and it's Edge Appreciation Night, as we all know, kind of like we had that NJ Appreciation Week for you when I was on holiday. Remember that? Hey, yeah! Right. He comes out and talks about missing WWE. He announces that there's going to be a cutting-edge segment later tonight with Orton and Mark Henry, so the main event of the show is going to be the main event on SmackDown. And then out comes Cody Rhodes.
Okay, so we had Edge opening, which was good, because obviously it got the crowd going, got the crowd warmed up for the night. Cody Rhodes coming out, I think, out of all the wrestlers that's in a storyline, Cody Rhodes was the best person to come out to confront Edge.
It's nice to see the Intercontinental Champion featured in an opening segment, which is usually saved for the main eventers. That's all I say. It kind of really shows that they have a lot of confidence in Cody Rhodes being the Intercontinental Champion. I kind of like this. My only issue is he's got a match this Sunday, and I know we got some pay-per-view hype on this segment, but it might be all a little bit too late. It was good to see him get a lot of mic time, though. I'll give him that. I mean, given we had Bret Hart on Raw, which didn't really do too much for Raw. At least Cody Rhodes got a lot of mic time in the segment, which was good to develop his character and develop some IC Championship meaning, I guess.
Well, Cody Rhodes did say he's going to do something to the Intercontinental to make it better again. So I guess get involved in the World Heavyweight Championship kind of part of the WWE and this opening. I think it's good for the IC Championship.
Which would you say was better? The whole Bret Hart and Cena Del Rio thing, or the Edge and Cody Rhodes and what would soon to be Ted DiBiase thing? Which do you think was better?
Obviously,
Edge.
Yeah.
I thought the Edge involvement was so much better than Bret Hart. Basically, Cody Rhodes is going to the side of the ring apron, tries to get someone. He points out someone in a one of them paper bag hats, and then all of a sudden it's Ted DiBiase, and he knocks out Cody Rhodes in a moment that reminds me of Miz and A-Rai. We have Ted DiBiase beating on Cody Rhodes, so I assume these two are now going to have a match of the pay-per-view. All I can say is, number one, I'm glad this has happened because we knew this was going to happen. Using Ted as a babyface, my only problem with it is this all a little bit too late for the pay-per-view match?
Well, the way I look at it, the way I would have done it, yes, I would have had the whole Ted DiBiase in the audience, but I would have maybe had a bit more of a fight between the two, so it was like Ted looking too strong too quickly. But overall, it did its job. It gave us a possible opponent for Cody at the pay-per-view.
It has to happen now, doesn't it? It's the only possible
opponent we have. Cody Rhodes not in a feud with anyone else, apart from Orton twice now, but Orton's already in the match, so it's not going to be Orton.
So the opening segment developed some storyline, developed a possible feud for the Intercontinental Championship, which is good. Edge, obviously Edge is very good as well. At least he kind of did his job to sort of let Cody Rhodes have mic time and stuff, which was good. I like that. So a decent opening segment, I guess. Announced the main event also.
And it's made Ted DiBiase look strong if he is going to be the opponent for the pay-per-view.
Which is better than WWE been giving him for the last 12 months, where he's been shit on. But there we go. Next match we have, it's Daniel Bryan versus Sin Cara in the rematch that Daniel Bryan asked for last week. This match went on for about 5 minutes. Of course, we have storyline continuation from last week with Sin Cara kicking him in the groin away and putting the label lock on him, which was fucking ridiculous. Sin Cara gets DQ'd for beating on Daniel Bryan too much after the 5 count. It was all a bit quick though, wasn't it? Like with the 5, just as soon as the 5 count went, it was like, no, just qualification.
And then Sin Cara acted like, huh? What are you counting me out for? And then, basically, I just thought that match could have been better. It could have maybe gave Daniel Bryan his first win, but whatever.
Basically, I liked in this match how they both showed kind of like determined, angry sides. We have Sin Cara at the end beating on, but you have Daniel Bryan, actually developing his character a little bit by kind of being a bit rather than the same old.
The commentators trying to do their best by picking them both up. So I think, again, it did okay for a continuous storyline.
Yeah, and the main thing comes out when Sin Cara, basically we get Hunico after the match. We know it's Hunico. We know that. So, and then Sin Cara comes out afterwards, and them two have a stare down. It's like, well, it looks like WWE are going to go down this whole Sin Cara route. What are your thoughts?
Okay, the Daniel Bryan and Hunico, I think it's going to give if they continued with that a bit more, it would have gave them another feud going on. It looks like they're going to finish that one. I'll push that one to a side and concentrate on Sin Cara versus Hunico. And I'm thinking maybe if they do decide to keep both of them, we'll get a new wrestler in it. But the feud itself, I think it could be interesting because they both look okay in the ring.
Yeah.
A few botches here and there, but I think they could put on a good match.
Well, Sin Cara needs someone to work with, and I guess this is WWE's best thing. My only issue with this segment is the fact that Daniel Bryan, who's your Money in the Bank winner, is essentially filler for another storyline, which kind of annoys me. I really think Daniel Bryan should be involved in a prominent storyline, especially seeing as he's in Money in the Bank, and he should be winning a lot more. That's my only problem with this segment.
True, he could have. Like, if Sin Cara didn't come back yet, they could have had a Daniel Bryan versus Hunico feud.
I just don't like the Money in the Bank winner being filler in a feud. Just, you know what I mean?
True, but obviously they're going to move on from that now.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll give him something good to do over these next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Next we have a squash match. Yay! Typical Smackdown squash match. AJ versus Beth Phoenix. It lasted a minute and a half. It made Beth Phoenix look strong. Beth Phoenix gets on the mic afterwards and says she'll end the Divas fairy tale. It was short and sweet and effective in a way, wasn't it?
I'll say that AJ is still at the growing part of the WWE. She's not doing great, so I think her to go against Beth Phoenix in a squash match was basically the best choice of divas to go against Beth Phoenix.
It made sense. The smaller diva getting beaten by the more dominant diva. So.
And definitely gave Beth Phoenix a win leading into pay-per-view.
Which is what we need. The heel being stronger, and the challenger being stronger in his pay-per-view. So it was an effective segment, I thought, even though it's quite short. We're going to get a quick backstage segment with Trish Stratus, Edge, and Christian, and Zack Ryder. So
go to Theodore Long after one more match.
Because Zack Ryder was involved in it, we're just going to move on, even with the inclusion of Trish and Edge. Next we get a tag team match. Wade Barrett and Christian versus Sheamus and Justin Gabriel. And I know they're trying to interweave Barrett, Christian, and Sheamus. They seem like a really random match to me, even though I kind of like the inclusion of Justin Gabriel because they need to find some way of getting him on the show. I'd like to see him in a prominent feud on his return as a face, but there we go.
I look at this and they got the whole Sheamus and Christian, or Sheamus and Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
They've got different feuds going on there, so it definitely made the match somewhat interesting. And again, it did build up to show us that there's going to be a continuous rivalry or feud between Christian and Sheamus, which was good. Justin Gabriel, I think, was there just to get him on TV somehow, and Wade Barrett, I still think they're being poor to him.
Yeah, this match went on for 7 minutes, and one thing I will say about this match, I enjoyed the way this match was worked. You have the heel tag team dominating the smaller face, which makes sense. It was a well-worked tag match. It was, good story continuation from last week with the whole Wade Barrett, Sheamus, Christian. It's just a shame they're not having a pay-per-view match between Christian and Sheamus or something. Basically, Christian cleans house at the end, and then Gabriel gets the pin. So I guess it's a good way of giving Gabriel some kind of push, and having Sheamus in there as well to get, both of them getting a lot of face heat from the crowd. And, it kind of develops the Sheamus-Christian rivalry at the end we saw, which isn't happening at the pay-per-view, but at least it's some storylines on Smackdown, which is good.
The match itself, I'm going to say it was quite good, because it did show Wade Barrett's strength. It did show his good move in the ring. It did show the whole Sheamus and Christian thing. So I think it did its justice for the match itself.
It's just a shame that Christian and Sheamus isn't a match of the pay-per-view, but there we go.
That's the problem, yes.
We then get, on our next segment, we get a reoccurring segment tonight. We had 3 segments tonight, which had nothing to do with the Night of Champions pay-per-view. And on a go-home show, you really need to focus on what is going on in your pay-per-view. And you had 3 segments tonight not devoted to your pay-per-view. That is a huge problem for me. And there's another problem I'll come up with in the segment after this. We get Carly versus Heath Slater in a random match between 2 heels. This was so random, and after 30 seconds, Jinder Mahal interferes, and Slater and Mahal beat on Carly, and then Carly comes on top, and I'm just like, fuck's sake, I don't really care about this segment, and are they making Carly the face? Because if they are, I am not liking this at all.
Oh, I was rooting for Heath Slater. Go Heath Slater!
One man rock band! Yeah! No, Heath Slater got... Well, basically, Jinder Mahal and Heath Slater pretty much got buried, but Heath Slater I don't mind. But Jinder Mahal, a guy who's just coming into the SmackDown roster, I feel a bit for him. But there we go. I mean, are they going to do a Jinder Mahal Carly rivalry? Would you think?
They will do.
Development of another storyline, I guess.
And they can go back to jobbing, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that was really not a very good segment, really, was it? Wasn't that
Not
good at all?
good.
Any segment involving Carly is usually pretty bad. I'll give it that. Next, we have a segment which I was really looking forward to until it happened.
You suck!
You
suck!
suck! You suck!
You suck!
You suck!
You suck!
You suck!
You attack!
Yeah, that was awesome, wasn't it? Basically, yeah, I like it, the fact that they're actually showing the tag champs every week in Kofi and Evan Bond. What I like even more is the way they've integrated Miz and Truth, and they've done this whole remix thing with the "You Suck" getting heel heat from the Canadian crowd, and you're really seeing them as both as tag teams, and I'm really liking how they're doing this. That was good. It's just a shame the match had to happen.
The match itself, again, I think they had that great match on Raw between Miz and Kofi Kingston.
I expected the same thing here. I really did.
But the thing I had with this is that, yes, they need to make R-Truth look strong because he's obviously the other half of Miz's tag team. But basically, he just squashed everyone and just end the match quickly.
And my question here is, why have you had 3 segments on Smackdown which have nothing to do with the pay-per-view, and this match only lasts 2 minutes? Surely you want to do the same thing that you did on Raw, because the Raw segment was a very good segment. You've developed a rivalry between the two. I really don't like the way they've made R-Truth squash Evan Bourne, because it makes you feel like that Miz and Truth could beat Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston very easily at the pay-per-view. You wanted it to be a little bit more competitive, so these two could be on a level playing field, so it could be a competitive match at the pay-per-view, and that's not the feeling I got from this segment. So in my opinion, a really bad segment. I really didn't like this segment too much and what it did for the tag team title match, even though I'm still looking forward to it.
The thing I'll say about it is that it had a good opening, so obviously the whole tag team of Miz and R-Truth. Blowing onto the match, it did have a back and forward action between the two wrestlers.
For 2 minutes.
But then basically it was R-Truth who took the finish too quickly and ended up looking strong over the tag team champ.
Yeah, it's 3 segments, not to do with the pay-per-view. And this one, the one that has to do with the pay-per-view, lasts 2 minutes. It's like, fucking hell. And then we get to the main event. Main event, we have Cutting Edge with Orton and Mark Henry as Edge's special guests. And I liked in this segment how Edge and Orton put over Mark Henry's dominance and the fact that he hasn't had too much of a good career, but this might be his time.
Yes, and the reason I'm going to let you finish this video later is because I agree with you.
Well, you should do what I said was right.
Yeah.
Right, so basically Orton comes out and says he knows he can beat Henry. Edge did get too much mic time. I like, he got a bit, but not too much. And it's good that they have allowed Orton and Henry to speak before their pay-per-view match. The whole Cutting Edge segment was decent. What did you think of that segment? I just loved the concentration on Henry's lack of desire and his not so good career. And he talked about other people being champion ahead of him and everything.
Well, firstly, Edge concentrated on Mark Henry, saying how much of a dominant guy, what he's done to Kane, what he's done to Big Show, made himself sound like this big monster. And then how Orton, how do you think you can beat him? Obviously, Orton says he knows he can beat him. The way they did all that, I think it was nicely done, because obviously maybe Mark Henry's not going to win, but they built him up to look like a strong, credible opponent for Orton at the Night Champions.
What I will say, Doug, this is how you bring in a guy who's retired into a show to help another feud get over. With Bret Hart, we saw he really did nothing for the Del Rio and Cena feud. This is how you allow someone. This is how you allow someone who's not in the wrestling business, or who's not wrestling anymore, who's retired, to actually do something for your show, rather than Bret Hart, who really did nothing, in my opinion. Don't you agree?
No, Edge did a really good job at concentrating on the SmackDown's main event, which was obviously needs attraction, needs to be looked at perfectly, and the way this segment went was perfect.
Yeah, the world's strongest failure, eh? Oh dear, that got Mark Henry motherfucking angry, but there we go.
And what I'm going to say now is this is part of the video where the Cutting Edge is finished.
Yeah, we're just going to leave because we don't want Mark Henry beating on us.
And then crazy.
Yeah, and then basically Orton and Henry start attacking each other, and then Teddy Long brings out all these SmackDown jobbers to try and stop them, and it's like, basically, at the end of the night, you see Mark Henry coming out on top on all of the jobbers, and it makes him look very strong going into the pay-per-view. He dominates Orton once again, and I'm thinking, I really actually think Mark Henry can win this match, which is rare, I can say, for an Orton match. I will let you speak now, NJ.
Out of all the people that Theodore could have brought out, he had to bring out jobbers to the biggest SmackDown wrestlers.
I tell you what, at least if you bring out jobbers, it doesn't really do much for them, because if they brought out like Wade Barrett, Sheamus, and
security.
Oh, fuck security. They don't do that on SmackDown shows.
No, but still, jobbers got flattened. and
great way of making Mark Henry look strong there, although I thought it was a little cluster. Of course, it's going to be clusterfucked, but I don't know. He basically, you don't tell me what to do! You don't tell me what to do! And you end with Mark Henry holding the World Heavyweight Championship. What a great way, in my opinion anyway, to build up to this match at Night of Champions, with Mark Henry looking strong as the dominant heel like he should, and Orton actually now having to have some sort of obstacle to come over, so maybe the crowd can actually get behind him as a babyface.
Because now we're looking at Mark Henry thinking, could there be a future short title reign for Mark Henry after 15 years?
Yes, indeed. Overall thoughts, MJ?
Again, the SmackDown, it didn't really get me entertained. It had segments that I thought, okay, you continue with feuds, which is going to happen after Night of Champions, which we need to see. But really, for a go-home show, you need to concentrate on the pay-per-view matches. And to be honest, you've not really gave us long pay-per-view matches. There was the Divas match, which was short, but it was the squash match because it was only AJ of all Divas.
Yeah.
Then we had that tag team, which obviously was rubbish. The Intercontinental, yes, it got Cody Rhodes involved, but maybe had him later appear again or something. But again, it just wasn't the best SmackDown for me.
No, I agree with you. It wasn't very entertaining, but what it did do was develop the storylines, which SmackDown have really failed to do a lot in recent times. I thought the opening was very good. It helped develop the Cody Rhodes and DiBiase storyline, and to have that in the opening segment, I thought was very good. The main event, I thought, did well for the actual main event on SmackDown. There was a lot of segments in there. There was 3 segments in there that really had nothing to do with the pay-per-view, but at least they carried on continuing storylines. The R-Truth and Everborn segment, or the tag team segment, I thought was going to be a lot better than it was. So really, for me, this show, although it was decent in parts, it's going to get a C from me and C from NJ. Maybe a C+ because of the main event and the opener. It was decent. It was a decent show, just nothing special. As a go-home show, you need to be featuring your pay-per-view matches prominently, and I didn't get that feel tonight.
No, you had the Raw, that was a go-home show. SmackDown had the chance to improve, and it didn't really.
It wasn't as bad as Raw, though, I don't think.
No,
Raw was really bad this week. But anyway, you've heard our thoughts on the SmackDown that happened this Friday. Make sure you get your comments and your thoughts on SmackDown down in that comment section below.
And you've heard it from the Men in Black, Mr. Parkin, and me, NJ. What's up? Goodbye, people.